Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to talk about Alliance Battle and Alliance Battle Extreme because I spend a lot of time on my videos, in my live streams, disliking and hating on it and why it's bad, and I explain all of the reasons that make it kind of a boring, repetitive, trashy game mode. But I don't spend a lot of time, especially in videos, giving reasons or ways that Netmarble could improve this game mode, make it better, or totally revamp it, because personally I would delete it and start fresh. So I wanted to give a robust idea that I've thought about and kind of developed over a few weeks for a replacement to Alliance Battle. And I want to explain why I think that this game mode, out of all game modes existing, needs the most attention currently, because unfortunately I think that Alliance Battle is best suited right now for Netmarble's gains. It doesn't actually work out as a fun game mode for players. After a couple of weeks of playing it, you're either going to be terrible at it, or you're going to understand that you need to get very specific characters and very specific gear setups to do well, and then it's just a matter of pressing the buttons right, and it comes down very little to your actual skill level. But it's very good for Netmarble because they can easily develop and release character after character, update after update, that gives you just a little bit higher scores after just a little bit of testing, raising the bar each and every time, and allowing you and forcing the top alliances, the top 15, the top 20, the top 30, to spend crystals and to spend money on mega rank up tickets, mega tier 2 tickets, CTP chests, trying to keep up with the rising inflation of the Alliance Battle score. I think some of the best examples of this were the switch that we had from Anti-Venom to Agent Venom, or Agent Venom to Anti-Venom to Wolverine. We also had the situation with Kid Kaiju's uniform, followed immediately by Spider-Man 2099 in the very next update cycle. And then right after that, we got Quicksilver. Netmarble has shown a willingness and a desire, an actual desire, to give us new characters to replace old characters very soon after they are released. I think one of the only characters that took a long time to be replaced was the Universal Hero slot, and famously Thor, or infamously rather, Thor was introduced and originally a better fit than Odin with his bugged uniform, and then promptly he was fixed after everyone bought his uniform, mythiced it, and developed it, and then he was replaced by Nova, and we all know how those updates went as far as the Extreme Alliance Battle community is concerned. So there's a lot of things wrong with Alliance Battle, but it goes deeper than just Netmarble's pockets and the money that they're getting from this game mode. In addition to the inflation of scores, Netmarble doesn't seem to want to stop at all. Originally, Alliance Battle scores were capped at 1.5 million, so if you got over 1.5 million with Cable or Ant-Man or any other character, you would get an error message, your score would not save, and you would be kicked out of the game back to the start menu. You weren't hacking, it was just the limit that Netmarble had placed on the Alliance Battle scores each day. As of the last update, the Black Panther update, they stealth buffed the limit to 2 million, which now means with 8 days of the weekly schedule, 16 million is the top score theoretically possible for any one player to get. Now, of course, 16 million is absurd, but at the end of the week, you're definitely going to start to see people with 10 million, 11 million, 12 million points. And there's literally no signs of stopping. Why would Netmarble want to bruise their cash cow for the top alliances if we didn't give them a good reason to, if we didn't give them a viable alternative? In addition to all of these problems existing currently with Alliance Battle, it's just a bad game mode. It's a single player game mode, first of all. You play by yourself against a bunch of opponents in an arena, and although you compare your score to your teammates in your alliance, that's essentially the only interaction you have with your alliance. Yes, there's competitive score counting and ranking amongst the top alliances, but that's very easy to recreate this kind of situation in an actual team game mode. Compare Alliance Battle, which is supposed to be a battle that you work together with your alliance to complete, compared to something like World Boss Invasion, where you're actually playing with other players. It seems a bit bizarre to me that Netmarble would design an alliance game mode that you play by yourself, completely removed from your alliance, and then they would create this casual game mode for new players to play in, where you actually play with other players frequently and you have to work together and strategize with them. So what I basically decided to create was a raid boss, similar to World Boss Invasion, but essentially it's World Boss Invasion on super steroids, HGH level steroids. And this would be the replacement for the Alliance Battle game mode altogether. Rather than having a normal mode, an extreme mode, just have one mode, make it simpler, and make it accessible in a way that you don't even need to have 40 members in your alliance to compete in it. But essentially, my idea would be like this. Each day, Alliance Battle opens with a different raid boss. It could be Thanos, it could be the ones from World Boss, it doesn't really matter who they are, but you have a different raid boss. It could also be the co-op world bosses, how we have, you know, the Asgardian super villains. We have Odin, we have the Frost Beast. It could just be the Frost Beast every day. That's a little bit boring, but whatever. You just have one boss. You don't have waves. You don't have a boss that's unkillable. You have an actual boss with an HP pool. My estimate for something that's fair, given the fact that you're going to be playing with your teammates in your alliance, is 100 million HP. I know, that sounds like a crazy amount, but you're not playing it alone. It's an alliance battle, so you'd be playing it with, my guesstimate as for the maximum number of characters that Netmarble could handle in one game would be 5. So you're one character plus 4 other characters. I wouldn't make sense to bring in a team of 3. That would basically inflate the teams up to 15. You could basically do that and have it just be 9, so you and 2 other players, or 3, but the idea is basically the same. You go in with a small group of your alliance member teammates and you kill this raid boss once per day. That's the simple version of things. But in addition, they could put things into it that make it so much more interesting than that. But already, it seems like a more interesting and fun game mode than Alliance Battle. Because for one, you're playing live with your teammates, with other players who you can talk to and strategize with, and, you know, have fun and enjoy the moments in the game with them. In addition, you're taking down a much larger boss. Part of the reason that Alliance Battle is so boring is because you never actually get to kill anything. You just rotate through your skills, and you see the Frost Beast's health going back and forth. Yeah, you see the score ranking up, and that feels good. But other than that, the only minions that actually die are the robots. It's so bland. Instead, you would actually have a goal here to deplete the enemy and the boss's health down to 0, which is what we work towards in every other game mode, actually defeating the boss. And you could even have bosses be real life enemies like Apocalypse, like Black Dwarf from the Black Order. You could even have guys like Sandman, Rhino. It doesn't really matter who the boss is, but in addition, you could bring in additional parameters that already exist in the game. For example, Infinity Thanos, his World Boss Ultimate game mode, when he hits you, he calls in the Black Order Strikers. You can have a similar mechanic, but they're buffs that the boss gets at certain health thresholds. So this is a very common practice in MMORPGs. Once the boss gets down to 75% health, 50% health, and 25% health, something happens. That there's a cutscene, they power up, they do their Super Saiyan 2 or 3 transformation, and the fight gets exponentially harder. And it's kind of the warning sign to the players, hey, things are about to get intense. That never happens in Alliance Battle because it's just the same boring thing over and over again. So the HP lost buffs would basically create this added pressure. You could even have enrage timers where if you take too long to kill the boss, he just gets way too powerful over time, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and he just starts to regain health and power up even stronger, and he starts to one-shot you. But that is as far as the difficulty is concerned. In addition to that, I think there's so much more by having you play with members of your alliance that Netmarble could develop, as far as us using our rosters and using a wider range of our rosters. A very simple rule they could have is that you cannot bring duplicates of any character into this alliance battle. One of the reasons why World Boss Invasion is kind of cheesy, in addition to being extremely easy, is you can have 3 Doctor Stranges running around, 3 Jean Greys, and it just makes the game mode look ridiculous and silly. if they banned that possibility and you had to coordinate with your teammates. Okay, you're gonna Johnny number 1 is gonna bring his Jean Grey. Billy number 2 is gonna bring his Wolverine. My Luna Snow is super jacked up, so I'm gonna bring her in. So we've got her crowd control, we've got Jean Grey's buffs and her freeze as well, and you're coordinating with your team, whether you're doing it over a chat group, you're doing it online in the group chat actual messenger system, and this would open up a lot of additional strategy, additional mechanics, and also teamwork, which is what alliances are supposed to be for. Additionally, because you have something as epic as a raid boss, there's going to be boss mechanics. Netmarble has already shown recently that they understand certain game mechanics, and introducing new ones are actually interesting and fun, which is why the Black Panther Extreme mode has some of these things where you have cutscenes and additional enemies come in, like the Hunt, where you have those cars that drop all those bombs, or you have the Long Live Wakanda, where the train comes and it stuns you, or it stuns the enemy. Interesting things like that. Environmental hazards. They can do those things and have those super punishing game mechanics so that you have to learn them, and then you also have to teach them to members of your alliance. In addition to those things, I think it would be very interesting, and it would be easy to implement this in a way that you basically get 1 entry per day. So if I go in with Terry, Ariaxis, sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, John, and Pedro, if I go in with those 4 guys, me and those 4, we can't participate for the rest of the day. But we beat the raid boss, we got our alliance 1 kill for the day. The other 35 guys have to figure out when they're going to get their kills in for the whole day. They have, 24 hours to get that kill done. Additionally, in addition to actually getting those kills and securing those world boss or those kind of alliance battle raid boss wins, you could calculate how much time was taken to finish off the raid boss. So the alliances that do it the fastest average score per day, will get the biggest score chunk added to their overall alliance weekly ranking score. And so you could keep this kind of page where you have a score ranking of all of the best alliances, so that they can jockey and vie for top position. The top characters and the top accounts and the top alliances with CTPs and cards and maxed out characters will still be the best, but it encourages team play, and it encourages your alliance to communicate and actively participate together. It's so much more than this kind of solo, let me go beat up this Frost Beast for 3 minutes game mode that we currently have. In addition, it's very easy for them with a game mode like that to apply specific restrictions like they already do for World Boss Invasion. They can just copy and paste a lot of these design effects in a way that would make sense, and it would put pressure in a good way, in a team building way, in a roster building way for alliance members. So for example, clear the stage with less than 3 female heroes. You can apply that exact co-op mission result as the rule, not the co-op rule, but the actual hard rule for the alliance battle raid boss. So you basically can't use female characters if you're bringing in more than just 1 leader for each player. So you have to coordinate the teams. Because you can't use duplicates as well, you have to use further coordination with your team. I know it might sound complicated, and some people might be turned off by this game mode because they find Alliance Battle really easy right now, and they just like the simplicity of it and the kind of repetitiveness of it. But believe me, after a year, after 2 years, it grinds you down, and it becomes a mindless game mode that you just go in and finish like a zombie, and it adds nothing to your gameplay. And all you're doing, once you get to the stage where you're getting a decent score, is you're either trying to push your score, or if you're in a competitive alliance, you're just holding your breath when every announcement for a new update is released, when there's a new set of patch notes, and you're scrolling through the patch notes hoping that you don't find another character like Shuri, like Valkyrie, like Coulson, another character that's going to force everyone in your alliance to groan and then have to mega rank up or mega tier to a character just to stay competitive in the only alliance focused game mode that we have. Of course there's Alliance Conquest, but that's a totally different monster to tackle, so I don't want to talk about it today. And the rewards and the whole structure of Alliance Conquest really pales in comparison to Alliance Battle, so that's why I don't want to compare the two, and why it's really not fair to compare the two. Alliance Battle leads into Alliance Tournament, so I think it is the primary and should be the primary focus for all criticism, and it is, I think, the most desperately needed rework in the game right now. So let me know what your thoughts are on this kind of super steroided world boss invasion alliance battle remake. Let me know how you would further improve the game mode, or if you have something even better, although I doubt it. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care. Why would I want that when I can answer my daily trivia? Why does Netmarble hate us? I don't know.